I'd like to begin by welcoming each and every one of you to this evening's meeting. This is the fourth meeting of the Board of Directors of the City of Hot Springs, and we'll begin with an invocation by Pastor Scott Davis of Hope Church PCA. All rise.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for our city, our state, and our nation. The freedoms we enjoy in this country are a blessing. Help us to be ever mindful of that fact and aid this Board of Directors to be good stewards of those freedoms. Would you help these elected officials to deliberate wisely tonight, rooted in a love for Hot Springs and her people. Father, we thank you for the men and women employed by this city to serve us, men and women who patrol our streets and pave our roads, take care of our trash, and do other means of service that don't get much notice. In doing so, they are not only serving us citizens, but they are serving you as they steward your creation and minister in their respective vocations. Father, would you give all gathered tonight humble hearts as they carry out their work here? Would you, by your Spirit, remind both those who govern and those who bring their grievances here that as important as city politics is, it is not ultimate, neither is county, state, or federal government, but that our ultimate hope, both individually and as a community, is in Jesus Christ, his church, and his gospel. When we get that wrong, we despair, and when our politics don't go our way, and we puff ourselves up with sinful pride when our side prevails, we pray that you'd be pleased to bless the labors of this board tonight, and we ask all these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll now call this meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Director Aaron Holliday.
Here.
Director Phyllis Beard.
Present.
Director Marcia Dobbs-Smith.
Here.
Director Dudley Webb.
Here.
Director Karen Garcia.
Here.
Director Steve Trusty.
Here.
Mayor Pat McCabe.
Here. At this time, we'll consider approval of the agenda. Are there any additions, deletions to the agenda, or items to be moved from the consent agenda to new business?
Mayor,
Yes.
there is one item for your consideration to be added to the agenda. I have before you a resolution that's marked for identification purposes as R-24-45. It's a resolution authorizing out-of-state travel to the National League of Cities Congressional City Conference for Director Phyllis Beard as required by Hot Springs Code 2-1-5 and for other purposes. That would require a motion and second and two-thirds vote to add that to your agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Director Holliday.
Aye.
Beard.
Aye.
Dobbs-Smith.
Aye.
Webb.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Trusty.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. We've added it to the agenda. I'm sorry, maybe I added one too many roll calls for you. We're going to have a long, hard night.
Mayor, as I indicated, I did mark it for identification purposes as 45, so if we can do that directly after R-24-44.
Okay. Making a note on that. Okay, at this time, we'll consider approval of the minutes of the regularly scheduled meeting of February 20th, 2024. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes as presented? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
Second. Director Garcia, second by Director Trusty. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I oppose, same sign. Minutes are approved. Recognition of guests. We have a special proclamation today for Women's in History, and I'm going to call upon Director Garcia for this special moment.
Thank you, Mayor. It's my honor to read the City of Hot Springs proclamation for Women's History Month. During Women's History Month, we celebrate the countless women who have fought tirelessly and courageously for equality, justice, and opportunity in our nation. We also reaffirm our commitment to advancing rights and opportunities for women and girls in the United States and in Hot Springs, Arkansas. We are mindful that we are building on the legacy of recognized trailblazers and unsung heroines who have guided American history and Arkansas history to continue to shape its future. So whereas Hot Springs recognizes the month of March as Women's History Month, established in 1987 by Congress to celebrate the contributions American women have made to strengthen the nation since its inception, and whereas Women's History Month honors women of every race, status, and ethnicity who have challenged the social and legal structures that have kept women's labor underappreciated and underrepresented throughout history. And whereas American and Hot Springs women have been leaders not only in securing their rights of suffrage and equal opportunity, but also at the forefront of every major social change movement in history, paving the way for future generations to enjoy the unalienable rights, duties, and responsibilities afforded equally to all citizens of the United States of America, and whereas each woman is extraordinary in her own way, proving that women working inside the home or outside in academia, science, technology, business, labor, governance, and more maintain a critical role in every sphere of society. And whereas when women succeed, families and their communities prosper. And now therefore, Pat McCabe, Mayor of the City of Hot Springs, and on behalf of the entire Board of Directors, does hereby proclaim March 2024 as Women's History Month. And accepting this proclamation tonight is one of our own trailblazers in Arkansas history. In the recently released book, Women Trailblazers, Arkansas National Guard, we have accepting the proclamation, and if you will come forward, Mrs. Dorothy Lee Seeley. She was the first female warrant officer in the 39th Infantry Brigade. And she became a trailblazer, being one of only 3 women in joining armed forces in Arkansas when she joined the Arkansas National Guard over 50 years ago in 1973. The first females that paved the way and was a trailblazer for the women following them and the women today. Of course, they had to add a latrine for the women because there was no one that looked like them when they joined, no one to go and seek advice from because they were the only ones. But they had heart, they had strength, they wanted to wear the uniform and serve their country. And this change has resulted in progress in paving the way for all women who choose to do likewise. So at this time, the mayor and I will present this proclamation for women's history to this trailblazer from Hot Springs. And as an added surprise, I have also from Hot Springs by the City of Hot Springs Mayor and Board of Directors, the Hot Springs Key to the City, awarded to Dorothy Seeley on March 5th, 2024, are achieving the rank of Chief Warrant Officer 4.
I've never spoken to a group with my back to most of the group. So.
Did you see Carl Payne?
Over 50, I guess I have to have this right like this. Over 50 years ago, on this June 1973, Hot Springs, Arkansas, National Guard Armory on Woodbine Street. I raised my right hand and became the third member of the Arkansas Army National Guard. And it wasn't any easy to make the decision at that time because there just wasn't any women. And but I wanted to do something different. I wanted to be a part. And this way, in the National Guard, you could serve your country, and then during the week you could work whatever, but you'd have that time for your country, and I enjoyed that. My first assignment was 212th Signal Battalion in North Little Rock. I want to say one thing on my first drill in the Arkansas Army National Guard. Of course, they did the routine of taking you around, introducing you, and what your job would be, and etc. But the first sergeant came to me and he said, "Private Seeley, I wish to have a few words with you." And I said, "Yes, First Sergeant." I had heard others call him First Sergeant, so I knew it'd be all right if I called him First Sergeant. He said, "This is a man's army. If you want to exceed in this man's army, you're going to have to work harder. You're going to have to work smarter, and you're going to have preparation." I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying that it's anything, but he said, "I want you to know that that's how it is in this man's army." Well, you have to have been looking at him. He was trying to help me. He was giving me words. And thank goodness I was smart enough to listen to what he had to say. And I kept the words the whole 29 years that I was in the National Guard. Some would have been offended, I'm sure, but I didn't see it. I didn't see it that way. I had the experience of a lifetime. I saw and did many things. In the beginning, it was so strange. I was the only woman. I didn't have a uniform. Went to the firing range, still didn't have a uniform. But I went off to basic training. Went to the Women's Army Corps, Fort McClellan, Alabama. Was I ever this little country girl? I come from a family of 8 siblings. I had 3 children. I just was amazed that our country could have so many different type people and accents. Of course, they laughed at me. But it was wonderful. I did exceed, but I did one thing, and it was awful. I got homesick. If you've never been homesick, you don't know what homesick is. You can't explain it. But anyway, I got over it. I did come home. I did earn, in some years, the sergeant first class of the enlisted rank, E7. And then I had the opportunity to become a warrant officer, and it just opened up a whole lot of gates for me. And I could stand here all day and tell you my war stories, but of course they give me a limit because it looks like you got a lot of business going on tonight. But I wanted to say that in the military, we become a family. You have your military family, and it's very, very important. A few years ago, Adjutant General Kendall Penn wanted to do something for the Army and the Air Guard women during this month. And so he appointed, I think about 16 or 18 people to research the Trailblazers. And of course, it took almost 2 years, but they did it, and they came up with 60 women, and he broke it down to that long. This part is the old, that's me, and the middle, and then the new ones, the new females that were aspiring to be number one, like in the Air Guard, the first fighter pilot, woman fighter pilot. Excuse me. But anyway, they did produce the book, and Saturday, the Adjutant General presented us 60. I'm sorry to say that 60 that were not there. Some had passed away. But at 82, I am real proud to tell you today that I love serving in the Arkansas Army National Guard. It has been a wonderful thing for me. And I'm the only one in my family that's been in the National Guard. And so I thank you, Mr. Mayor, I thank you for having board members. I wish all of you success. And thank you very much for having me.
You're very welcome. Thank you for your service. Thank you very much indeed. This time we'll hear from Ms. Tidra Duck, President of the Historic Downtown Farmer Market, and she'll give us our annual report, her annual report. Welcome.
Where's the?
Get it on.
Yeah. Until she got that boot off. Moving fast now.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. My name is Tedra Duck. I am the president of the Historic Downtown Farmers Market. We are happy to be here tonight to let you know of all the great things happening at the market. First, I want to talk about our mission. Our mission is we are a community resource program, 501c4 nonprofit, and our mission is to bring access to healthy, nutritious, sustainable food, to bring together consumers and local farmers, and to promote economic development, as well as bring and promote unique artisans to the market. Our revenue sources, at this point, we have one. It's vendor-based rental fees. Our current balance, bank balance, is $9,046.05 going into main season, which starts the first Saturday in May. Our expenses are advertising and promotion, entertainment, administrative overhead expenses, which is postage, printing, promoting the market, and through special events and those types of things. Every year we hold 63 markets, 27 main season, which is May to October, 25 winter markets, November to April, and 11 Tuesday markets, which are June through August from 4 to 7 p.m. We have educational outreach with the Garland County Master Gardeners. We hold a community resource day where we invite different people to come and inform our customers. We had AARP, St. Vincent, the Guardian Angels Cat Shelter, Emergent Arts. We also had SWAT and the fire department come out and talk to our customers. In addition, we have SNAP and WIC, which historically has only been during main season, but we are going to expand it to the winter market in the 2024 season. The Garland County Library comes out the first of every month, and they now have their bookmobile. It's been a huge hit. I was able to renew my library card right there on site. So if you need to renew your library card, they're there the first of every month. The Hot Springs Irish Society comes out when they have their annual sale. I believe this year they sold out well before noon. The Hot Springs National Park Rangers come out and talk to people and give them information about all the different parks in, well, probably in Arkansas, but particularly here in Hot Springs, and we have quite a few. And this year, we are also teaming up with the Literary Council of the Ouachitas. We have SNAP and WIC at the market. The market, we apply for the SNAP as the market, and people can come up to the market table, give us their SNAP card, and then they get coins, SNAP coins. They're like $2 each. They get SNAP coins that they can spend with farmers, plant farmers, and breads and bakeries and stuff, those types of things. They do not expire, so that if they don't end up spending them, they can come back later, even next year, and spend those coins at the market. Bonnie Fiedler and I, we attended and presented at Arkansas Grown this year at the convention center, and we were informed that Double Up Food Bucks, which we have always loved, may not be for us this year. They have relegated it to about 5 counties in West Arkansas. And Double Up Food Bucks is, you come to the market, you give us your SNAP cards, you get $20, it goes up to $20 match, and you go, I need $20, then I can give you $20 in Double Up Food Bucks for free. But the grant apparently has run out, and I'm currently have been on a letter writing campaign with the state of Arkansas, hoping that Garland County and other counties, but in particular Garland County, will get our Double Up Food program back. But we're still waiting to hear. I hope we hear before main season starts. So this past year, our SNAP sales dropped by 56%. And when I spoke with Jeremy Adams, it's basically due that after COVID hit, a lot of people fell off the SNAP rolls. So it is what it is. Our current SNAP balance is $2,283.11. But Jeremy Adams of the Arkansas Coalition for Obesity Prevention is helping us work to get our Double Up Food Bucks back. We have a handful of farmers that do WIC. If for WIC, each individual farmer must apply. That doesn't have anything to do with the market. And a lot of times people are confused that WIC and SNAP are the same thing, and they're two totally different programs. And farmers have to apply for that individually. We cannot do that as a market. We have recently, well, in the last year and a half, we have rebranded the market. We have a board member, Michelle Cheddar, with Zuma Design. She does custom websites and logos and branding, and she created for us a brand new logo. She revamped our entire website, made it very user-friendly, and so now everything we do, we brand. So we're trying to bring awareness. When people see that, they'll say, oh, that's the Hot Springs Farmers Market. I know what that is. Also, we now do vendor applications online. So anybody who wants to apply to become a vendor, they can go to our website. We have all of the vendor information there, all of our policies and procedures, additional resources, because the cottage food laws are extensive and ever-changing. So we always try to keep up the additional resources so that everybody is on track to know what they need to know in order to sell food at the farmer's market. Additionally, customers can go to our website and sign up for weekly emails, and we'll send those out, let them know who's coming to the market so they know what vendors will be there, what they're selling. And also, we have links to upcoming events and any SNAP and WIC information that customers or vendors may need, if that's the case. Our advertising, we try to keep it local outside of Facebook and Instagram, Sentinel Records, Springs Magazines, our local radio station, our electronic sign outside the convention center, downtown kiosks. And I will say that our vendors, as well as Springs Magazine, Arkansas Farmers Market Association, Growing Healthy Communities with Arkansas, they are the ones who share our posts on Facebook the most, and we get quite a few shares. On Facebook, we have 12,121 followers. Instagram, 2,721 followers. Communication with vendors is very important. We hold vendor meetings probably every 6 to 8 weeks. Our last meeting was February 3rd. Our next meeting is April 20th. We send out weekly emails to our vendors, giving them all the information they need, any changes that are happening, the next meetings, anything that they need to be aware of. They go out in the weekly emails where the vendors sign up for the next week's market. We are very cognizant as a board to responding to all of their text, emails, and phone calls. We make a point to know the vendors and create a community within the vendors. With the vendors, we have an open dialogue, and I will say that most of our, most of the moves we make are vendor suggestions, if not, I would say, majority of them. That vendors, if they have an idea or a suggestion, we take it under advisement and we go to the board and take a vote on it. We try to make our changes in a timely manner and let everybody know. Also, our rules apply to everyone. It keeps everything fair and on course. Applications, you can apply online. You read the policies and procedures. There's a check mark that says you did that. The market manager will call you, and if she has any questions, she'll ask you questions, let you know if you're approved. We have 95% of applicants are approved. You would not be approved if you're a commercial business, if there are safety concerns, you're not 100% homegrown, homemade, and handcrafted, or you do not have the required license, certificates, or equipment, such as for food trucks selling. I think the eggs now have to have some type of license to sell. Here's a look at our farmers. And farmers include the meat, eggs, produce, and honey. And we have our value-added breads, spices, rubs, jellies, teas, just about anything you can think of. And of artisans, we have quite the array of artisans, all types of different woodworking, metalworking, crochet, jewelry. We even have a knife sharpener, and if you haven't been down there, I suggest you get down there and have him sharpen your knives because they're really good. Jewelry, all kinds. We have all kinds of artisans, soaps, lotions, cosmetics. We hold live demonstrations. This past year, John Fagenkrantz came out and did a live demonstration of his artwork. We also had the solar eclipse, and we provided glasses for people so that they could stop and watch the eclipse while they were at the market. That's one of our vendors right there, weaving a scarf, and her stuff is phenomenal. This next year, we have scheduled David Fustus, a nonprofit, veteran nonprofit. He's going to do a demonstration for people to grow indoors or in small areas, because a lot of people they want to grow their own food, but they do not have the space. So he's going to do a demonstration on how you can do that in your apartment or your small balcony or tiny backyard, whichever the case may be. We have lots of entertainment, and this year we added Tuesday music to the market, which we have not previously had. Anything from country to pop to blues and classical. When we added Tuesday, we're trying to promote the Tuesday market. It has not been well promoted in the past. So we started off this year, started the Tuesday market with Taco Tuesday. We had a taco truck and a mariachi band. It was very fun. One of our problems with trying to add food trucks is that most of them are for catering, or they're in a food truck park, and so they don't move, actually. And we close at noon, so, you know, it's not maybe financially beneficial for the food trucks, but we're still trying. Our main season events for 2024, we've already had the beard contest. This was our second year to do that. It was quite fun, and it was last year as well. May, we have Family Fun Day. In June, we have Community Resource Day, and this year, we're teaming up with the Literacy Council of the Ouachitas for their Rubber Duck Race fundraiser. And I don't know if you've ever been to that. It's very fun. It's very exciting. They have a DJ that comes out and gives color commentary about the ducks going down the water. So we're happy to join forces with them to help in their fundraiser. In July, we have Christmas in July. September, the Fall Art Market. And the reason we do that in September is a lot of our artisans will start making the fair circuit in October. So we're trying to get a jump on that. While they're out, we can get a jump on the fall crafts and winter crafts that they provide. And then in October, that's our last month of main season, and we always have a vendor appreciation day. In the past, we've had cake. This past year, we had coffee and donuts, which I think was a pretty big hit, as well as some, calendars and some branded bags and those types of things. These are pictures from last year's beard contest. We had the mustache, the longest beard, the goatee, and then the young girl that was creative, so the children can be involved. So creative beards. I thought hers was really creative. Family Fun Day, we had a bouncy house, ring toss, beanbag toss, checkers, Jenga. We had that's not pictured here, but we also had a little mini bowling alley. We had Christmas in July. You can see that our vendors did everything up with Christmas crafts and decorations, gift ideas. Community Resource Day, the Fall Art Market, and vendor appreciation. Growth at the market in 2022 to 2023, the market grew 108%. We went from 30 full-time, full-season vendors to 51. For 2024, we have 71 full-season vendors signed up already. We went from 167 applications to 350 applications on file. As of yesterday, I believe we had 393 applications on file. We even got an application from South Dakota. I don't know how they found out about us, but we're, whatever. We're worldwide now. So we have 25 spaces available for weekly rotating vendors. And we're trying to see where we can fit more if we need be. Oops, I did it again. That's a graph of the growth that we've had from 2022 to 2023. That is it. Thank you.
Very good. Board members have any questions of Ms. Duck? Director Garcia?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to thank you for a few months ago, there was some questions came up, and you and the market manager provided timely responses, very thorough reports, and all of your processes and reports were very explanatory and showed good success and fairness. So I really appreciate that and wanted to publicly thank you for that timely and very thorough response, and acknowledge how much your passion for the market makes people like me want to go there more. Every time I've been there, I've had a very good experience. So thank you and everyone involved.
Thank you. We appreciate that. And we do have a lot of fun.
Director Director Webb.
Thank you, Mayor. I too want to thank you for your presentation here this evening. Ms. Duck, it looks like your numbers are going up, and I love that y'all are providing activities for everybody. You know, it isn't just for a certain type of person. It sounds like it's something for everybody, even those of us with beards can go there and take
You
part in the
you could have
fun.
come out, you probably would have won.
I don't know, that gray-haired beard looked pretty good. But, I do appreciate you being thorough, too, to provide us with some numbers here this evening, and it looks like there's some good things that are happening at the farmers markets. Thank you.
We believe so. Thank you so much.
Any other comments or questions? Thank you very much. Appreciate you. At this time, we'll hear the city manager's report, which will be provided by Lance Spicer. Bill's on Zoom today, but Lance will provide the report here at City Hall.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, everybody. I'll do my best to fill in for Mr. Burrow as he watches over us. Literally. Start off, we've got a couple of events coming up with planning and development. We do have Operation Clean Sweep. It kicked off this week. It'll run from March 2nd to March 4th through March 22nd. Of course, that is a multi-departmental event that takes place. It kind of all-encompassing, deals with neighborhood services looking for various code enforcement issues. You have solid waste involved, and additionally, you have street department and district court provides some of the community service workers as well for litter pickup. The areas to be covered, this is in the northern area of the city. This is from Holly Street, Mountain Valley, Mineral, between Park Avenue and Congress and Russell Street. So for those of you that are familiar with that particular area, or if you want to know more, please just contact the City of Hot Springs Neighborhood Services Division. Additionally, staying with with planning and development, we do have some information on the Code Forward, which is our update to the zoning and development code. They will be hosting 3 open houses this next week. There are actually 2 on Wednesday, March 13th. There'll be one from 12 to 1, and additionally there'll be one from 5 to 8 p.m. That will take place at the Garland County Library, located at 1427 Malvern Avenue, and the following day, Thursday, March 14th, from 8 a.m. to 8 to 11 a.m. at the Transportation Depot, located at 100 Broadway Terrace. Kind of to close things out, we do have some, both police and fire departments, they are in the process of recruiting for new police and fire officers. The police department has a deadline of April 26th. They're hoping to fill 6 vacant positions with exceptionally qualified candidates. The fire department additionally is recruiting for new firemen. Their application deadline is March the 2nd. There are a couple other events coming up, but in the effort of everybody that's in the audience, we will conclude the report.
Very good. Thank you.
Sir.
This time we'll hear from individual director. Director Beard, did you have a question?
I think the deadline for the fire department is the 22nd. Did you say 2nd or 22nd?
Said second.
Yeah, fire department, March 22nd.
Yeah.
Very good. Director announcements of upcoming events. Director Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to remind the public that the City of Hot Springs is seeking applicants for our advisory committees and commission positions. The applications are due by noon on Tuesday, March the 12th. There are a number of committee openings for the Animal Advisory Committee, Arts Advisory, Board of Adjustments and Appeals Board of Zoning, Civil Service Commission, Historic District Commission, Parks and Trails, Planning Commission, Towing Service Advisory Committee, and the Transportation Advisory Committee. So there is a place for everyone, and we encourage the citizens to look at these opportunities and apply for one of your interests by next Tuesday. And I also wanted to remind the public that the basketball state finals are scheduled in Hot Springs March 7th through 8th at the Bank of Ozarks Arena across the street. So This is always a fun event during these finals, and I hope everyone that enjoys basketball will come out and support the state's top athletes as they compete for these top honors. Thank you, Mayor.
Any other announcements? Director Webb?
Thank you, Mayor. I want to announce to everybody that starting March 12th and ending March 14th will be the East Conference of 2024. It will be held at the Hot Springs Convention Center, which is at 134 Convention Boulevard. The East Conference is a multi-day event that gives students the ability to showcase projects that make a difference in their communities. Information can be found at www.eastconference.org, and the general admission for this event is $10. Again, that's March 12th through the 14th.
Very good. Any other announcements of upcoming events? Director Trustee?
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to remind everyone about the I Love Lila Kate 5K and Lila's Mile that will take place on Saturday, March 16th. I know there's a lot going on that weekend, but this will be held at the Transportation Depot. The race begins at 8 o'clock at the depot and run the paved Greenway Trail to Hollywood Park and then back to the depot. All funds raised will go to organizations such as Garland County Special Olympics and the Arkansas Down Syndrome Association. This is honoring Lila Kate McAllister. Our families are friends. My wife taught with Lila's mom, and it's just a special time for us individually, but it's a special time for the community to come together and to support this effort. To register for the event, visit www.runsignup.com, and we have signed up for it. Probably won't be running all that way, but we'll be there for the race.
Director Holliday?
Thank you. It's not upcoming, it's ongoing, but for anyone here who may be able to sneak out or anyone at home, the polls close in just under an hour if you haven't voted yet. The preferential primary is going on now, as well as your opportunity to vote for judicial candidates for Arkansas Supreme Court, as well as our local district court. So for those of you at home, if you've forgotten, you've got 45, 50 minutes, so run now.
Very good. Director Trustee, you made a comment about not running, but being involved in a running event. I want to personally invite you to the St. Patrick's Day 0K running event. It's actually a walk this year because people were so enthusiastic in their run that they motored over people or they crashed at the finish line. So it's a walk this time. So I'll be the official starter, Director Trustee, and you can join.
I have participated in that in years past, Mayor. It's just sad that they're on the same day, that we have two big races like that in the same day.
Well, I'm sure if you walk both, you won't be overly taxed. But that's a fun event, and you know, we keep adding to different activities here in Hot Springs, and there's always something for everybody. And so I'm not sure what the exact time of the 4 o'clock is. 0K?
I believe that's right.
Okay, on the 17th, Sunday the 17th. Very good. Well, thanks for your help.
Saturday,
It's on Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah.
the 16th.
Okay. Very good. So that completes our upcoming events. At this time, we'll move on to the consent agenda. These are of a routine nature. They do not merit individual discussion, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So move, Mayor.
Director Trustee,
Second.
Director Director Garcia, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
No.
Consent agenda is approved with one dissent.
Okay.
At this time, we'll hold a public hearing on the request to abandon and vacate a portion of the unnamed alleyway located in Block 4 of Avondale Addition subdivision in Garland County, Arkansas. I'll call that public hearing open. Is there anybody who'd like to speak on this topic, the vacation of a portion of an unnamed alleyway located in Block 4 of Avondale Addition subdivision, Garland County, Arkansas. Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Now we'll move on to our first item of new business, and we'll consider Resolution R-24-44, and ask City Attorney to read by title.
Resolution R-24-44, a resolution authorizing a ground lease agreement with Historic Downtown Farmers Market, Inc. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion if any.
Motion to adopt, Director Garcia.
So moved.
Seconded by
Second.
Director Holliday. And a staff report will be provided by Anthony Whittington, Director of Parks and Trails.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. The City of Hot Springs has a history of providing its citizens with local, fresh, nutritious, and affordable vegetables, fruits, and local farm products. The historic Downtown Farmers Market has managed the city's farmers market program since 2009. It's in the city's best interest to continue this relationship and enter into a ground lease agreement with the historic Downtown Farmers Market for use of its farmers market pavilion. The HDFM offers a farmers market year-round. Main season dates and times are May through October, on Saturdays 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. and Tuesdays 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. June through August. A winter market is also offered November through April on Saturdays only from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. When the farmers market is not open, the pavilion can be reserved by the public through the transportation depot. In addition, the city has the right to use it for city-sponsored events and programs. The initial term of this agreement is for 3 years and provides for 3 additional 3-year renewals upon mutual consent of both parties. Thank you.
Any questions of Anthony from the board? Thank you.
Thank you.
We do have a number of people who have signed up to speak on this topic, and the first will be Carol Schaup. Carol? Please come forward, restate your name, address, and district, please.
Good evening. Thank you all for listening. My name is Carol Schulp. My address is 301 Stearns Point Road here in Hot Springs. And I wanted to speak to the farmers market because I, at one time, was on the executive board for the farmers market. And I think it's one of the most wonderful things we have, but there are always contentious problems with it. There were when I was there and ever since coming forward. Some of the things I wanted to ask the young lady that just gave her report, she said things are online, and I wanted to know if the bylaws are online and if the books are open and the number of farmers versus the number of non-food vendors. So those are all questions that I have and hope those will be answered. I'm all in favor of the farmers market, but I have talked to Bill Burrow on several occasions about having an employee oversee it. And I think that would really do away with a lot of the controversy. There'd be an overseer who was a paid employee and who could take those, any kind of objections up and bring them forward. I have not been part of the board for a while, but I have heard from several people that they don't feel that they are being heard. Now, I can't speak for them, they have to speak for themselves. But to me, it is concerning if that is true. I think that meetings should be open, and if somebody requests a copy of the minutes or whatever, it is in order to keep their 501c4 license, they have to do that. One of the problems appears to me to be that most people are not trained in 501c3 or 501c4 obligations, and so consequently it causes a great deal of confusion. Dorothy Morris and I have offered courses in the past at the Garland County Library, and you'd be surprised how many people sign up. The problem is that as the boards change, those people are not necessarily followed by trained people. I just want to bring that to the attention of the city, that I think it would really behoove us to have someone from the city as a paid employee to oversee it. So thank you for listening.
Thank you. Next was Carrie Schiaparo.
Good enough.
Close?
Well, this is really an honor to come before y'all. I've never done this. I might be a little nervous, but I appreciate your time and giving me 3 minutes of your time anyway. I wanted to speak about the farmers market. We started there a couple years back, and my experiences have been nothing but good. My family, I was so blessed because I saw my pictures pop up on their little presentation a couple times. I have 7 children. We're all involved in farming. We're all involved in, my children are involved in music. They were able to play at some of the events. They play classical music, which is an oddity when you got farming and classical music, but that's another story. But I so appreciate we opened up with prayer, and we're trying to recognize, as for my family, we're trying to recognize what are we doing this for? What are we going through life for? And one of the things that comes to mind is this young woman that was 39 years in the military. She said she swore. She rose her hand up and swore. What did you swear to? And then you said you had to work extra hard because you were a woman. You had to work extra hard because maybe there was a whole bunch of people that didn't want you there. Well, farmers, the average age of a farmer is 59 years old. Now, there's not very many people in this room that are going to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, at 5 o'clock in the morning, or as some of these managers, 3 o'clock in the morning, and come down there and take care of a myriad of problems. Okay, the managers just getting us to be able to come there and sell our goods that we work very hard to do. And 99% of the people are honest. 99% of the people are doing hard work, and they're teaching their children to do hard work. If this woman, again, going back to the lady who rose her hand, she had integrity. She had something inside her that was driving her forward. And that, to me, I'm really grateful that y'all gave her keys to the city. I'm looking at these managers, and I see what things that they have to do: pick up human waste on the parking lot, clean up mess, deal with 1,000 people at a time, but yet the market is growing. How can we say anything bad about it? If there's something technical that they need to learn, then let them be learned. But give them some credit. Everything that I've seen, how we've been treated, have always been fair. Whether it's labeling, whether it's suggestions, whether it's an aid of some nature, it's always been good. I have nothing bad to say about them. There are some bad apples in the world, and they want to lie, they want to cheat, they want to not put the labels on. If they don't put the right labels on, we sell baked goods. If we don't put the right labels on, the city will come in and shut it down. The state health department will shut it down. So you're hurting everybody there, not just because you want to sneak. I managed a market for 20 years, so I know what headaches they have to go through day in, day out. And yet they do it with a smile. They do it because they care. They do it because they love what they're doing. You get someone in there paid, they might not like the job. And then you're going to get...
Terry, could you provide a closing comment, please?
Please understand that they're doing a really bang-up job.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you. Julie Williams. Julie Williams. Please come forward and restate your name, address, and district. Thank you.
I'm Julie Williams, and I live at 130 Forest Hills Trail. And I'm here, I've been involved in the market pretty much since it started. And when you talk about things like SNAP, I remember Donna Donahoe and Kathleen Faison, and I can't even begin to tell you all the people that have made this market. And it is my favorite place in the world. And for me to have to say anything negative, it really kind of makes me sad. But when we talk about numbers going up the year after COVID, of course the market was low. But you know what I know is that I went to the market, and Lester and Rebecca Meredith are here because they were at the market every Saturday. I didn't have to go to Kroger because they came with masks, and they have been coming for 15 years. I'm not questioning whether we have a wonderful market. I know we do. I already know that. But what I'm seeing is these long-running farmers that are getting dismissed unfairly, and that is no doubt. And I think we can all go on and on about how great our market is, how many cool things. I mean, I could go forever. However, I just feel like if you're not treating your farmers right, if you're not being fair to everyone, if you're going to their farms and searching and people are allowed to use the people in charge to kind of pick out people and pick on them, I don't think that's what our market's about. And I know when Gene Wallace and the city and everybody built this award-winning pavilion, and it is phenomenal, but the city really doesn't have control over what happens there on Saturday. And if there's one thing I've noticed, whether anybody's right or wrong, there has been so much drama, a number of lawsuits, and I feel like if we could just have the city be able to have the final say on what goes there. It was under the guise of the city in the beginning. It was actually managed by Parks and Trails, and then there was, as it grew, there was a movement to get a board. But as we've all heard, it's big, it represents our city, and I just think it might be a good time to take responsibility and make sure that, you know, maybe just try to have less of the he said, she said drama. And also, after I came and asked the question, why were these people removed? Because that's all I asked. I've been accused of, scheming with the Sentinel Record, and I have been sniped online, and I feel like it's just more of the bullying. Calling Lee Meredith Kroger Lee. That's not nice. And this is the undercurrent. Of course, some people are happy because nothing's happening to them, but what about the farmers that we've known all these years? What about the farmers that were there during COVID when the numbers were down? So I'm just asking that maybe you consider just more professional management. It's not that anyone does a bad job, but just a professional that's not so invested in the drama.
Okay.
And I appreciate your time. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve Helms. Steve Helms. Please come forward and restate your name and address, please.
How you doing? I'm Steve. I live at 225 Brendeck here in Hot Springs, Arkansas. I'm just a local customer of the farmers market, love it to death. People don't really understand what a privilege it is to have homegrown, non-GMO produce grown by these wonderful farmers. But just a small story. My mother has a celiac disease, and if you guys don't know that, it's an extreme allergy to gluten. And on top of that, she was bitten by the longhorn deer tick, which makes your body sensitive to animal protein. She can only eat about squash and dirt, and that's about it. But no, I'm just kidding. My mother didn't eat dirt. It's just pretty much most foods are rough on her palate. But one of the very few things that she can eat is heirloom squash. And her diet consists pretty much of squash and just a few other things. But one of the fellas I found years ago, a guy named Lee who grew squash. And it's obvious and painful to her when she eats something that's been exposed to too many pesticides, overly processed. But the fella that grew that squash was asked to leave under ambiguous circumstances, and when people's livelihoods are negatively affected, they're least likely to provide that produce. And God bless these farmers, and anything that would prevent them from continuing their livelihoods and providing that to the people of Hot Springs just should be stopped. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Rebecca Meredith. Rebecca, please come forward. Restate your name and address, please.
Yes, it's Rebecca Meredith, 4399 Midway Road. We're in Donaldson, Arkansas. Yes, we've been going to the farmers market we've been vendors there for about 15 years or so. We've not been there for the last year or so. But yeah, we were vendors there for a number of years, and we just want to see what's best for the market, and I honestly think that having a professional person oversee it would be the best thing. I really do. I want to see what's best for the market, whether we're there or not. And I think all of the name calling and all of that, that's not good. And I heard tonight something about all these emails now are being handled quickly. Well, when I sent emails in to have my emails answered, they were not answered quickly. Just wanted to say that. I had a lot of questions about why we were turned away from the market, and I never got answered. So anyhow, just wanted to say that.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Lester Meredith? Lester Meredith? Please come forward and restate your name and address, please.
I've been with this market for 16 years, and I have never seen such a mess. So many complaints, and I'm talking about people who call me at my home, sent me emails complaining about how this market has been managed. It needs to be taken over by someone who has a little bit of competence. Now, you can get up here and talk all day about the services, the WIC, the SNAP and all that. Those programs have always been there. So I'm just asking you, one other thing I want to throw in here real quick. I was accused of not growing my own stuff. That is blatantly wrong. They came out to my place in August expecting to find produce that I sold in May, June, and July. They don't know beans about gardening. We need some people in here who have a little bit of confidence. Thank you.
Thank you. That completes the list of those who asked to speak on this topic. Discussion amongst directors. Director Beard.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't want to go through and rehash all the things that have been said before back in the summertime, but I would want to know why haven't the minutes been presented to the board where the farmers that were kicked out unanimously, why has that never been available? Why weren't those minutes ever provided to the board?
This is not part of our process to receive their minutes.
Yes, but I did ask for the minutes, and then we were given information. So when the people on both sides says there's a lot of drama, I wholeheartedly believe that, and that's concerning to me because a farmer's market is where farmers bring things that they've grown. So it is also a place where there's community and, well, you know, things that are productive. So I think with all the bickering and the fighting, it's kind of taking away from the food. So what would it take for there to be a market manager hired by the city?
Mayor, if I could jump in.
Yeah, Bill.
So we did request minutes. Deputy City Manager McFay did read those minutes from those meetings. They did not leave a copy with us. In their minutes, they do discuss farms and visits and those things. That was one of the reasons they did not want to share those minutes, because it had farmers' names in there and they wanted to protect that. I don't think I didn't get the impression that it was we're out to get you. I think it was just discussions they had in their board meetings. And I also spoke with Ms. Duck in the office and discussed that. And you know, maybe there's ways and things that they could do as they work on their minutes and discuss some of those things basically in an executive session where you're only discussing what the results were versus the details. And minutes as well, doesn't always have to have those kind of details. They just have to have what the actions were. So I did have that conversation with Ms. Duck. In an effort for us to try to take over a market like this, we would need 2 full-time employees. This is not a Saturday and a Tuesday event. There is an enormous amount of work that goes into running this farmer's market, more so today than it ever has been. We actually had 2 employees when it was under Parks and Recreation at that time, and through different periods of time where we lost some employees, we went to this setup that we have now where they've developed a Friends of the Farmers Market or Hot Springs Market board, and that has worked out very well in my opinion. There were some rough spots. I can tell you that 3 or 4 boards ago, there was chaos down there. I had somebody in my office just about every day, every week, with those issues. And a previous board that I think the president at that time was Meredith Finn, really got things straightened out. They developed a set of rules and regulations. She came off the board, termed out of the board, and we have the current board. And I don't know, I can't stand here and say that everything was done right or wrong. I can just tell you what I have experienced and what I have heard, and the number of emails or calls that I've received regarding the farmers market and the current operations, and I believe the market manager's name is Bonnie, have been overwhelmingly in support of the operations of the market as it is today. That's really all I can add, but we did have that discussion on the minutes, and if they change the way they do those as far as content or as far as executive session, that may be an option, but that's where we're at.
Does the board have term limits or a certain amount of time they're allowed to serve on it?
Mayor.
Director Webb?
Thank you, Mayor. I did review their bylaws. There are term limits, and if I speak out of line to those that are on the board, you can feel free to correct me, but I believe it's 2 years, after which they have to get off of the board and they can return later to serve. It's 2 two-year terms, and then you have to step off? Okay. And then just adding to that on the minutes, that's part of the bylaws too. As it reads in Article 5, minutes of the board, 5.6 minutes, minutes which accurately reflect the events of each meeting will be prepared under the direction of the secretary and placed in a permanent record which he or she will maintain. Also, in Article 6 of these same bylaws, which concern the powers and duties of the board, 6.1.3 states to records to maintain records of the board's proceedings and of the activities and of its officers. I don't necessarily dispute what our city manager was saying, but I would expect that if anybody on this board did have any requests for those minutes, that those minutes should come to us per that request, especially as it is a part of their bylaws. And that could have the potential to help us determine what, if any, type of disputes are taking place amongst the board and vendors and farmers. And it gives us that scope to make a decision for ourselves. Because for me, sitting here now with the decision to grant a lease to the farmers market, of course, I've got faith in what happens in our farmers market. I've gone there several times myself, and I meant everything I said earlier. I love that there's so many activities that are available for everybody. But what I don't want to see moving forward is that there be maybe drama or disputes among board members and vendors and farmers, when if we could have a look at those minutes to either dispute those claims or figure out what type of solutions could be provided to the board to prevent those type of disputes moving forward, that's what I would want to do before supporting a lease agreement.
Director Garcia?
Thank you, Mayor. Since the inception of the farmer's market, I do not recall a time where there were not any disputes. There has been some, regardless of the board makeup or who the president was, there has always been some level of disagreements among different members of the market and members and the board. Back, we had some things, some of the people here came before us last year, and it raised some concerns. All of the questions I had addressed to the farmers market, as I mentioned earlier, that they responded to in detail, all of the inspection reports, and I would ask if there is a reason something contains individual names that do not want to be publicly disclosed, to redact that before making it public as others do. And if members want to have copies of information, they provided and answered every question with detailed inspection reports where there had been complaints regarding not having 100% homegrown products. I was very concerned about this because I'm a Hot Spring County girl, and I had been a customer of someone that was a vendor from there, so I wanted to, did receive a very detailed report about the reason that that was vendor was removed, if that was not shared with the vendors, or a process to dispute and grievance type a resolution not being included. That would be something to consider for improvements. However, overall, the people, residents that visit the market, other vendors in the market, I have overwhelmingly heard favorable and support of the market. As I said, no one is 100% satisfied. And as an elected official, I completely understand that. So I think there's always room for improvement, and I would ask for the disclosure, and it appears everything I've received in accordance with their rules, so in their bylaws. And like I said, I've received overwhelmingly support from residents and other vendors compared to a few. There have been some complaints, but it was very small compared to the praise. Thank you.
All right, any other comments? Director Holliday? Director Holliday?
Thank you. Mayor, you actually mentioned a minute ago in reference to former minutes that it wasn't part of the agreement. And I will be honest, I didn't look at the previous agreement in comparison, but I believe that the language in Section 17 of this lease really sort of fixes that moving forward, that it specifically says that operation records will be made available upon request, as well as regular accounting, audit of management activities, including farmers, participation, fees, how funds are utilized, will be provided to the city manager on the first business day of the month of October. And so it is in here that one, you know, it will be made available upon request. That's being signed to now. If that language wasn't there before, you know, I do think that definitely fixes it. And it specifically calls out the type of information like we had today. So just sort of addressing some of the concerns about not having as much information available or needing to chase it down. It is here in this particular agreement. But I do want to say, as somebody who's worked for a very long time in nonprofit, if we have a contract with this organization and we ultimately find that the organization itself is acting in a way that is unethical or unlawful or doesn't act in the best interest of the city, that is where our conversation really should remain. The day-to-day operations are really up to that board and any paid staff that they have, the same way that the day-to-day operations of our city is the responsibility of our staff. It's our job to look at whether or not the agreement in and of itself is in the best interest of the city, not necessarily the details of their operations. However, if they do ever act illegally, obviously that's not an organization we would have a contract with. So, thank you.
Any other comments?
Yes,
We're on discussion amongst directors. Director
I
Beard.
have one more. I would like to ask if the farmers that, I still don't know if they were voted out unanimously, and that's a mystery because we don't have the minutes, but I would like to know, is there any plan to, or could there be any plan to reinstate the farmers that were asked to leave, or in your eyes, are they mud, you know? Because some of these farmers have opened the market, have been there since the very beginning. And they're, for whatever reason, we don't know, because we don't have the minutes, are you just done with them, or can they come back when the new board is elected? Like, what's the plan going forward for these farmers, if there is one?
Well, again, that's not within our purview. That's
Well, they're here. Can someone come to the mic, because we have called people back to the mic to speak for other events. Thank you.
And what is your question, please?
I'm asking for the farmers that were voted out unanimously, or what we're told that they're voted out unanimously. Is there a way for them to be reinstated later, or are they? Because we don't know why they were voted out. We don't have any information. So and we're also told that this is more run like a dictatorship, you know. So people sometimes don't know why they're asked to leave the market. So my
They
question.
were fully informed of why they were asked to leave the market. The vote was unanimous by board vote, and I think I was clear on that on communication with somebody. There were two farm visits, not one, but two farm visits. It was a no-go. It was a unanimous vote.
And so my question, let me finish, please, was, is there any opportunity for them to be reinstated into the market?
No.
Thank you.
Will, follow up. Ms. Duck?
Ms. Duck. Ms.
Yeah,
Duck.
Ms. Duck, just a couple more questions. When you were sharing with us that there were two visits, can you just kind of briefly share with us what those visits were in reference for, and what did you uncover?
I did not attend the first farm visit. From the moment that I was on the board, we had received complaints. We didn't really know anybody at that point. And we're required to do farm visits, which we do. In addition to a few board members, there were two longtime farmers that also attended the farm visits. And while they were certainly growing some of what they sold, there was no path to growing everything that they were selling. And they have, they are not at our market, but they are free to be at any other market in the state.
And were these actions included in the minutes of your board meeting?
Yes, and they received we sent the reports specifically on that to all the board members.
Thank you. Director Garcia.
From the information I received, that you have compliance teams.
Yes.
And they go to farms and make these visits. And then reports are made from those visits. And that's what these decisions are made on. If a vendor that had been previously removed can prove that what they want to come apply for an application to be a vendor again, can they have a visit for those products if they show they're growing all of those?
Well, we have farm visits for every farmer regardless. So at this point, there were 2 farm visits, there were 2 denials.
So if they applied in the future, they would have a farm visit before they would be admitted back?
Yes.
So that could be a path if everything, but I saw very detailed reports from the compliance team and a process for that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Duck, do you consider your minutes to be part of the operation records?
No, we do not.
I suspected as much. Thank you.
I have one
Director
more question.
Beard.
Yes, I wanted to know if the farm visits, and you may have answered this, but I wanted to ask again, are the farm visits made by actual farmers?
Yeah, she indicated at least 2.
We had, well, I know that when I went, there were 3 long-term farmers. I would never just go in and make a decision myself.
Again, we don't have the minutes, so we don't know what you did.
That's fine.
It was in the compliance report.
Please, this really is discussion amongst directors, and it's highly, well, we'll talk about it later, but let's focus on discussion amongst directors. Are there any more discussion amongst directors? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Director Beard.
No.
Dobbs Smith.
Aye.
Webb.
No.
Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee.
Aye.
Holliday.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Resolution is adopted. We had pulled an item from the consent agenda to new business, and it's no, actually, we have an item that was added on, walked on, Resolution R-24-45, and I'll ask the city attorney to read by title.
Yes, sir, Mayor, this is Resolution R-24-45, a resolution authorizing out-of-state travel to the National League of Cities Congressional City Conference for Director Phyllis Beard as required by Hot Springs Code 2-1-5 and for other purposes. That concludes your reading of this resolution. If you would entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Webb.
Second.
Second by Director Garcia. Sure.
Yeah, Mayor McCabe, I'll try to tee it up. I don't know that much about it other than that it's apparently this weekend, March the 11th through the 13th, and with some, perhaps some preliminary matters prior to that. Have you registered for the event?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Maybe you can tell us a little about it.
Okay, so I did do a early bird registration for the event, and it is, there are preliminary events before the 11th, and then there is the Hill Day on the 14th, where everyone is able to go and meet with the cabinet members, someone from the cabinet, to discuss whatever issues need to be discussed. So there is hotel and then the travel. And do you need the numbers, or could I bring them back?
Yeah, I think we ought to have some type of expenditure not to exceed number for the entire trip. Is there you have a budget for that?
Yes, it would be 1,600.
Not, so somewhere in here we could put not to exceed 1,600?
Does that include the registration, or is that, do you need?
It does include the registration, yes.
So
So-
that can be added to section 1, just
Yes.
that
but
dollar
so-
amount?
So you believe the entire outlay is going to be $1,600 for travel, accommodations, meals?
Yes, because I am sharing a room.
Okay.
It was really late, so I'm sharing a room.
So if someone wanted to make an amendment, Section 2 could read that, provided further that said expenditure will not exceed the amount of $1,600.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to amend the resolution. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Resolution is amended. Now we can, any further discussion?
I do have a question, because I think it's kind of, well, obviously it came to all of us at the last minute because it was here. But, we talked about this a bit last year, like in advance of some of our other travel, especially because we had the sister city travel. But one of the things that is in our policy is that we do attempt to rotate. So was this just something that perhaps was not a priority for the city, and that's why it didn't come before us to have a discussion? Or, because I'll be honest, I'm not looking at every National League of Cities email to see that it's coming, but typically we do receive these things from the city manager's office, and then we have a discussion sort of as maybe who's going to go when to what. And so I guess my question is how this happened.
I'd like to answer how this happened, if I may. When you weren't here last week, we were speaking about what to do on the week of spring break. Two directors said that they would not be here, and they asked me would I be here at the meeting, and I said that I would be going to the National League of Cities at my expense, of course. So then that's when, between the city manager and the city attorney, said they could add it to the agenda. So if it's not something that you're comfortable with, then, feel free to vote no, because I can pay my own way. But I'm here trying to represent the people of District 2. And one of the reasons why I need to go is because someone from Marcia Fudge's office will be there, and they need to hear from me. And it's very important. So if you don't want to vote for me to go, that's fine.
No, it's not that. No, it's just more that typically there's a larger, and I know I wasn't at the agenda meeting, but typically there's a larger conversation in emails, and it was more. But I don't think, especially when it comes to National League of Cities, that that's something that any director should have to carry. I know I've sent myself to other things, but not that one.
And I also wanted to add that I hold a national office, so I'm expected to be there. And I know that I've been to every, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to call on Bill after you were done.
Oh, okay. So I know that I've been out a lot, but I am there gathering information. Coming back, also the National League of Cities is having, they're going to visit 100 cities this year because they turned 100. And I know that the planning department and Bill filled out an application, but it's because of those contacts that I've made with the people making the decision. If they come to Hot Springs, which they will be visiting somewhere in the state of Arkansas, that will be because of the relationships that I've built and the people that I've talked to and charmed and got them to pay attention. Right, Karen? You were there with me. You were there with me. So these are lots of things that I've done, building relationships with people and getting them to pay attention and take notice to us.
Bill, Director Bill?
Well, I'll confirm some of that. We received several of those over the several months that, hey, we know Congressional Cities is always in DC, the other one's gonna be somewhere else. They're usually about 6 months apart. Seems like this one was compressed a little bit, or at least the registration. I think the registration started coming back about 3 weeks after the last NLC meeting. But when I found out that Director Beard had interest in going, it was right, we couldn't get it in front of the board before the early bird payment. So Director Beard paid her own early bird payment. We have typically paid for board members to go to National League of Cities. And I'll agree with Director Holliday, those used to be rotated. If you went to one, you didn't go to the other, you didn't do both in the same year. Typically, that's how it was done in the past. Doesn't mean that's how it has to be. But that, I asked to put it on the agenda because if we're sending a board member to a congressional meeting or a NLC meeting, it's really board travel. I will caution two things. One is, I don't know if the board should have input when we sign up for committees through National League of Cities or through any other national program or state program. That's up to the board. But I do know in the past, when we had issues, especially for congressional city, and we're going to be meeting with our Arkansas delegates, the board would decide what those points would be. We always had some type of an ask or some type of a reason that we wanted to meet with our congressional members. And that was kind of a consensus of the board as we went up there and we worked on that. Over the past several years, it was certainly our water project is one that always comes to mind. We made several trips on that issue over the years. Economic development issues were part of that. We're fortunate that we have Congressman Westerman that lives here in Hot Springs. Now he has travel days and may not get to see him here. We haven't done the fly-in that we've done in the past with the Chamber of Commerce and Hot Springs Metro Partnership organized. That kind of got on hold as we went through COVID. But those are things that I think that the board should consider is if we're going to represent the city of Hot Springs, not so much just any certain district, but if we're going to be representing an issue for the city of Hot Springs, I think the board needs to have input and decide what that issue is.
Director Garcia.
And I want to say thank you to Director Beard because we had already applied for the 100 cities or had that application written. She did make a contact at the last one. He is an Arkansas native, it sounded like, or at least has families here. He came to the AML conference this past year and we were able to have dinner with him and talk about that. And I thought that was a very positive interaction that really bode well for potentially being one of the cities that they come to.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Director Beard.
Director Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. I attended last year, and Director Beard was elected to the Black Caucus over Arkansas in Tennessee and is holding a position there now. I met with Dr. Porter and members of a committee here regarding the Old Army Navy Hospital to meet with the Department of Interior and met with them and the contacts in Senator Bozeman and Representative Westerman's, and I'm still in contact with them and others. And this is, as you know, an ongoing process, but I'm trying to work with them there and here to continue showing support for something to happen there so that we don't lose that building. Also, the information that I shared with Bill and that we have received now a grant regarding the design portion of that transportation available grant so that we can, that's where that contact and that information came from. And now we've got that for the design so that we can hopefully get even big dollars that you're talking about for us in the future, the way they are allocating those funds. So our staff here has done a great job in moving forward in getting acceptance on those. So I think there is great training available, and my other focus was on the housing and attending a number of housing shortages and what to do, and how it's a partnership with what code we need to look at as far as development and small houses, tiny houses, other avenues of supporting affordable housing for our community. So I think that it is an opportunity for training and learning and to be beneficial. It's of course best to get that early bird price, because you can, and the sooner you can get a hotel room, you're going to save money and be closer, so you save on transportation costs as well. And I don't know, but Director Beard said she's sharing a room, so she's probably sharing with another delegate from Arkansas that will be attending.
You know the
from-
Eudora Mayor I
Right.
introduced you to.
Right.
And Bill, you met the Eudora Mayor as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Because we,
And I will say, I do want to add that whether it's staff or board members or a combination of both, these National League of City meetings, especially congressional when we have issues like both of you just mentioned, that is a very small cost compared to the dividends that typically come back to the city for those efforts. And I think the public should know that we have received much more in returns than we've ever spent, I think, in going up there. So I am a proponent and I think we should attend those meetings.
All right. Director Webb?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm not sure how the cycle went for attending National League of Cities meetings in the past. I won't speak to that. I will just speak to Director Beard's intent and desire to represent our city at this particular conference, and how impactful it can be, not just for her district, but for our city. And I think a lot of what I would add to it is what you were just mentioning, Bill, earlier. It will pay dividends, I think, as she brings back what she learns at this training, not just for her district, but for our board, for our city. So I support this move, and in my opinion, we should pass this.
Please call the roll.
Director Dobbs Smith.
Aye.
Webb.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee.
Aye.
Holliday.
Aye.
Beard.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. The resolution is adopted. Now we'll move on to an ordinance, ordinance O-24-12, and I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules and read by title only.
So moved.
Director Trustee, seconded by
Second.
Director Webb. All in favor of the motion and a second to suspend the rules and read it by title only, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Please read by title.
Ordinance O-24-12, an ordinance waiving the requirements of competitive bidding and approving the purchase of certain snow removal equipment from Hill Built Sales Corp., Arkansas. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would understand, motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
Director Trustee, second by Director Webb, and a staff report will come from the none other but Public Works Director Ron Seawright.
Good evening. Staff recommends approving the purchase of 2 plow frames to be installed on some existing trucks. We've had a couple trucks that went down due to age and can no longer be in service. And also, we're going to purchase one 6.5 cubic yard sand spreader that'll be equipped with the liquid brine tanks on it. As we move forward to use liquid brine more, our new spreaders will be adapted with the tanks on all of them, which will make them more efficient. Byers Products is what the city uses for all snow removal equipment, so it's got to be compatible. The cost for these products is $88,076.41.
Any questions of Ron? Thank you. No one signed up.
Sir.
Any discussion amongst directors? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Director Webb.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee.
Aye.
Holliday.
Aye.
Beard.
Aye.
Dobbs Smith.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Ordinance is adopted. Our final action item of this evening is to consider ordinance O-24-13. I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules and read by title only.
So moved.
Director Trustee, seconded by Director Garcia. Have a motion and a second to suspend the rules and read by title only. Signify, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Please read by title.
Ordinance O-24-13, an ordinance to abandon and vacate, abandon and vacate a portion of an unnamed alleyway located in Block 4 of Avondale Addition subdivision in Garland County, Arkansas. And for the purposes, that concludes reading, Mayor. If you would entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Garcia, seconded by, or who
I
made the
seconded.
motion?
Holiday.
Director Holliday. And the second was Director Garcia. Thank you. And Mr. Albright will provide the staff report.
I will attempt to sub. Mayor, Arkansas Code annotated section 14-301-301 seek provides for the method by which an alley or public right-of-way can be vacated and abandoned by the government, in this case, the City of Hot Springs. On February 6, 2004, the property owners on each side of this alleyway, Carol Weatherford on behalf of CEK Properties and Dennis Ridley, filed a petition with the city clerk's office to vacate a portion of this alleyway. That was published as required by law, and a public hearing was held earlier this evening, which you called to order. No one spoke at the public hearing. All of the both city utilities and local utility providers have been notified and have no continued use for this alleyway, and consent to the closing, vacating, and abandoning of this section. As the board's aware, do you have a picture of that anywhere?
I do.
Just shake your head. I mean, yeah, it's in your attachment.
Yeah, we saw.
When a portion of a public right-of-way is vacated in this fashion, the property line automatically moves to the center of the old right-of-way. So the property on the east will get the eastern half of it, and the property in the west will get the western half of it. A portion of that is actually owned on both sides by CEK, and Mr. Ridley owns the southern portion.
Any questions of Mr. Albright?
I think we do have representatives on behalf of the petitioner. If you have any questions of them, I don't know that they signed up, but they're here.
Director Webb?
Thank you, Mayor. According to what was shared with us in the packet, this particular alleyway hasn't been used in 5 years. Is that true?
At least.
At least?
At least.
What does it look like now? Growed up or road or? And is it just so that these property owners to the north and the south can actually put the land to use?
It's going to be for redevelopment in order to, you may recall, last meeting we had or 2 meetings ago, we had a situation like this, that in order to meet the setback requirements for these lots,
Right.
sometimes it's better to join them.
Okay.
In order to be able to accomplish that.
Right.
Carol Weatherford, the alley has never been used. The portion that we're asking to be vacated is an embankment off of Woodridge, yeah, that's an embankment. That alley has never been used except for the other end. It's being used by some people parking their cars there, the two houses on either side. The part behind Mr. Ridley has never been used either, and there's actually an alley behind the 3 lots, the 4th lot now with, it's never been used either. There's actually an alley running one way and an alley running another way, and neither one of them have ever been used. And what we're going to do is, there's 3 lots behind the lots on the other side of the alley. We're going to combine, we're going to take the property and going to come back and try to split the lot in front and make 4 building lots there that we're going to build small homes on 1,000 square foot type deals. And the one on Fulton Street and Woodridge is we're redoing now, and it'll be back on the market within a couple of months now that we're closing this.
And so the additional, or I guess I should say, the option to have this alleyway would allow you to complete that development, to have
Well,
those homes?
It won't, the 3 lots behind us are buildable. And what we're
Okay.
gonna do by closing that off, and then we're gonna come back for hopefully a lot split on the front lot, which is a very deep lot, and add this alley to it, gives us enough to build another house there, actually build 4 houses instead of 3 houses behind that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Director Trustee.
Thank you, Mayor. Carol, about where is this at? I didn't Google it, and I didn't try
Turn
to find it.
Peters Paint.
Okay.
That's Nickel Street.
Okay.
And when you get down to Fulton, or before Fulton, it actually turns to Woolridge.
Okay.
And Cypress Vale is behind.
Just in there behind Peters Bank?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Any discussion amongst directors?
Mayor, I can, want to add just something real quick. This is a good exercise for me to have along with the board, actually. So when right-of-ways are dedicated on a plat, they're not always accepted by the city, okay? And so the fact that this was never named, this alley was never even named, is a clue that it's never been used because the city never accepted it for maintenance.
Cool.
Right, that helps.
No, that makes sense.
Never know what's there.
Okay. Please call the roll.
Director.
Aye.
Just point at us, will you?
Director Webb.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee.
Aye.
Holliday.
Aye.
Beard.
Aye.
Dobbs Smith.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Ordinance is adopted. Very good. You got through it. You had a short agenda. So now we're on to director, items for discussion. Board of Directors, items for discussion. Do directors have anything to discuss? Director Webb?
Thank you, Mayor. I've got 3 points. One, do we still have our city manager on Zoom? Is Bill still available?
Sure he is.
Sorry about that. I got kicked off and came right back on. I missed that last portion. Were you asking me a question?
Yeah, I was going to bring up, as we were kind of unfolding the compensation wage increase for city employees a few months ago, one point of discussion that came up was the current pay and potential increase of pay for district court administrator, and I think there was going to be some follow-up on that. Do we have any follow-up details on that?
Not at this time. It is something that I am working on. We've done some additional, research. We're trying to come up with something that can potentially justify what the request is. I've had some additional communications from Judge Schweitzer, and she's made a proposal of what she thinks that position should be paid at. But we're going back through that. We've only had it out there for a few weeks. This has not been my only priority, but it is one that I understand is important. It's important to that position, and so we are working on that.
Thank you. As far as the dialogue that's taking place in the proposal, would that be available to be shared with the board where we could kind of see what's going on?
When I have this together, you'll receive that as well.
Okay, thank you. The other point, this is something that I just want to share with directors here tonight and the public watching at home, those in attendance here. This is about a new app that went online just about a month ago. It was put out by the Arkansas Opioid Recovery Partnership. The name of the app is Revive AR. It's also sponsored by the Arkansas Municipal League, Association of Arkansas Counties, and the State of Arkansas Office of Drug Director. This is an app that helps people recognize the signs of opioid-related drug overdose. It provides family support resources, including grief support and support for caregivers and parents and dependents battling substance abuse. The app provides information about ARORP funded projects. The app gives a step-by-step tutorial and audio instructions on how to use Narcan. Yeah, Narcan. That's the easy term to say.
It's good that you don't.
And that's a medication that rapidly reverses opioid overdoses. The app connects users with local treatment and recovery resources. The app also lists Arkansas take-back locations across the state where people can safely drop off unused or expired drugs. This is a wonderful app that just came out, and if anybody has any questions about this moving forward, I'll be happy to help answer those questions that you may have. And speaking of Arkansas Take Back, we've got a Take Back coming up pretty soon here in Hot Springs, and it's my understanding that the peer recovery, or Hot Springs Police Department peer recovery specialist, along with the Hot Springs School District Prevention Recovery Specialist Program, are going to team together on this Take Back coming up. So I have some more information on that to share with everybody later on. Last point is, the vote for me tonight on the farmers market. I 100% support what we do at the farmers market. It was my intention really to have that minute dialogue in front of me to analyze what's been taking place there over the years, to help bring forward some solutions. And without having those minutes, I don't think I could have voted yes for it tonight at this time. With those minutes and with time to analyze what's been going on and what we might be able to do to help those issues, if the minutes did confirm that the issues were taking place, that, in my mind, was enough to satisfy me moving forward to help bring solutions and then potentially vote yes for it. So I just want to make that clear with everybody here tonight. It does look like the agreement that we have moving forward may address that, so that is refreshing.
I asked her if she considered the minutes to be part of the operation. She said no.
Well, the minutes were part of the bylaws. They were supposed to be.
Their bylaws, not ours.
Yes.
I want to ditto what Director Webb said.
Any other
We'll continue
items
to have
for
discussion.
Any other items for discussion? Director Holliday?
So I just wanted to thank everybody who worked so hard this last weekend on the Arkansas Cherry Blossom Festival, Sake Fest that was here, and then also the first time sumo ever made it to Arkansas. I was able to attend a bit of that and was on the side of the arena that we essentially got the backside of all the sumo wrestlers. So, but I don't have the numbers from Cherry Blossom, but I know sumo, I think they said nearly 1,900 people attended. So it's really exciting. I definitely want to commend our Sister City Foundation board, all of the volunteers. I do know people come from all around the area to participate in the Consul General for our area. From Japan attended and said a few words at the beginning of sumo as well. So that's definitely something that makes us look really wonderful in our region and in the country, and honestly even in the world. So thank you to everyone who attended. If you missed sumo, I believe it will be back next year, but it may have been a once-in-a-lifetime thing. So sorry if you missed it.
There is video. They're making plans for that to come down.
Well, but we still have a public commentary after this, but I just want to talk a little bit about procedures. We spent a considerable amount of time about how the board should conduct itself in its meetings and the processes that we undertake and that we follow, and I want to ensure that we always have positive and constructive and meetings that are productive. And one of the best ways to do that is ensure that we bring people to the mic at the time that we in the meeting that they're supposed to be. We had a report from Anthony Whittington on the farmers market, and then we had four or five people got up and spoke on the farmers market. If we wanted to bring somebody from the audience up, that would have been the time to bring somebody up. We get the report from the department director or the city staff. We get people to speak for or against it, and then it's our time to talk amongst ourselves, not to keep bringing people back up. Okay, so if we want to have that, and that person was in the audience, we certainly could have asked questions of Anthony. He would not have been able to answer them. He would have looked to Ms. Duck. She would have come up. We could have asked Ms. Duck to come up. And that would have been the appropriate time to do it. But I really prefer not to keep going back to maybe step one when we're really in step three, you know. So, or step two, you got the staff report, you got people who signed up to speak, and we can certainly call somebody up to speak at that time. But then once it's our time, and then we need to move on. So please bear that in mind. You know, we sign contracts each and every day here at the city, and we're not entitled to corporate minutes of the entities that we sign contracts with. I don't care whether it's a snowplow equipment manufacturer, the land lease, or for the farmer's market, or somebody who's painting new striping on the runways. That's, you know, we're not entitled to those minutes. So we got to recognize that that's an independent corporation. And as Brian indicated, and the president of the Farmers Board acknowledged that the minutes are not part of their operational information that they would provide. So I do respect, you know, their ability to function as a corporation. And then our decision is, do we want to have them or not? I mean, that's our decision. That's, you know, we can only go so far in our request for information, and then we have to make a decision whether we want to have them or not. So please bear that in mind. Let's try to keep it in that order so that we don't go backwards and keep coming back and forth, because then we really lose control of the meeting. So I thank you for your patience in that and your understanding. Director Beard?
Yes, I want to thank you for clarifying what we did that was out of order, and because that was the first time that I recall this happening, I would not know going forward, so I thank you for that. And I also want to say about the minutes that I requested in the email, if you could have told us what you just said then I wouldn't have kept asking, thinking that they were trying to hide something. I do think there are information that's not available, but if you're telling us now that we weren't supposed to have it in the first place, then I wouldn't have kept asking. So thank you. I'm honored to sit among all of you, and I'm learning a lot, and there are lots of questions that I will continue to have. So if there's something that I get wrong or I don't understand, then I ask for your patience while Director Webb and I learn this process together. Thank you.
Yeah, it's all learning for everybody, and that's why I just allowed that process to run tonight.
Okay.
Knowing that we had this opportunity to have this short discussion afterwards. So, Director Webb?
I appreciate you, Mayor, for clarifying some of those procedural processes as well. And it was my understanding, too, that even the Parks and Trails Director, Anthony, was going to request those minutes, too. I don't recall seeing those in our packet, but I do know that he was going to request those, and I've even received in an email that he was going to request the minutes, so that's why it was on my mind as well. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, any other items for discussion? Hearing none, Director Garcia?
Mayor, if there's no other comments, I move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. We do have 4 individuals that have signed up under public commentary, so please stay close, and once we switch over, we'll get